Welcome to the Screaming Blackbird podcast. In this show, we will talk with military officers and professional leaders to explore Air Force careers and engage in leadership dialogue. The Screaming Blackbird podcast is created by the cadets at Air Force ROTC, Detachment 605 at North Carolina A&T State University. The contents of this show are for educational and entertainment purposes only. They do not contain any official information nor opinions of Air Force ROTC or North Carolina A&T State University.
Appreciate you guys. See ya. See ya. Recording on two. D&D. Put your phone on D&D.
Oh, what?
What?
Look, an acrobatic airplane.
Whoa!
That's pretty
Hey guys,
sick.
so we're just recording the podcast and we found these acrobatic airplanes just doing their thing.
What are they circling?
I have us. They're circling us,
Yeah,
dude.
it's literally us.
They said, hey, I heard the Screaming Blackbird podcast was going to be on today, so we wanted to come and show up and show out for everybody, practicing for something. We're here at High Point University, where every student receives an extraordinary education in an inspiring environment with caring people. And we get air shows in the sky.
Wow.
What a great opportunity to showcase air power.
Anytime, anywhere.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Screaming Blackbird podcast. This is episode 27, and as always, I'm your host, Cadet Jackson Willis, and today I'm joined by Cadet Christen Johnson. How you doing, Christian?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Good.
Good.
We're on High Point's illustrious campus. Where on High Point are we at?
We are right now at the Cottrell Amphitheater. Just an outstanding day to be recording a podcast, outstanding background, and I'm ready to get into it.
Yep, students use this to exercise, work out. We do 9/11 stair climbs here. People have concerts here. 2-3 days ago, they showed Wonka movie theater outdoors and they had food
Wow.
trucks and everything. So it's where students come to blow off a lot of steam, hang out outside of class, especially on a nice day like today.
Like this, yeah.
Can't you tell how many people are here? Okay. Anyways. So you're here because you're a member of Det 605. You go to North Carolina A&T. For the people who don't know you, could you give a brief 60 to 90 second intro, who you are, how you got here, and what today's topic is going to be?
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said, I'm Christen Johnson. Right now, I'm a student at North Carolina A&T State University. I am in Detachment 605, Air Force ROTC. And so just a little background on why I chose Air Force ROTC and my life. Since a very young age, I've always wanted to fly and serve my country. And so the Air Force was kind of a no-brainer for me. And ROTC is a great mix of getting college life and getting that path to the Air Force. So that's what I chose, and A&T is where I wanted to go to school. So here I am, Det 605.
Sweet, let's go. Awesome, well, it's great to see you. The past couple episodes have actually been with AS200s. We had Cadet Rylan Brown on a few weeks ago, and next week we'll have Cadet Nia Jones on too.
Yeah.
And so you guys are 200s. Your enrollment allocations just came out.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Congratulations on getting your enrollment allocation.
Thank
You
you.
want to explain kind of what that is and how it pertains to ROTC program?
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said, we are AS200s, which basically means we're sophomores in college. We're on our second year of the Air Force ROTC program. And as he mentioned recently, last week actually, we received our enrollment allocations, our EAs, which are basically our spot in the Air Force. And so that's a huge milestone for all of us who got that. That's what we've been working up to this point, which means we're going to get to go down to Maxwell Air Force Base this summer and excel at field training. So I'm really excited for that, and it's a huge milestone for me, and so that's exciting.
Good, congratulations.
Thank
So you have a spot in the Air Force. They said you're going to be an officer if nothing else happens. You pass field training, you
Yes.
stay in for 2 more years, but you don't have a job yet, right?
No.
It's
No.
just in the Air Force.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, you're well on your way. Congratulations. Great. Well, I went to field training last summer, and it was amazing. They change a little bit every summer, but they're pretty much the same. But there's actually a lot of changes rolling out for this summer.
Yeah.
Can you explain some of the differences between the field training 23 and field training 24?
Absolutely, yeah. So we got a 96-page document of all the changes that are going to be happening at field training, and so I'm really excited for that. But some of the key things we are going to have a new fitness test, the Special Operations Fitness Test, which they're going to give to us at the end of our 23 days at field training. So I think it'll just be, it's there to really measure how we do when we are mentally and physically drained, because it is an intense test, but I'm looking forward to that challenge. And then another change, we are only going to have a few maxes. So I'm pretty sure last year y'all had 5.
Yeah, we had 5.
We had 5 maxes. I think this year we're going to have 2 or 3.
Whoa.
So that's a big change, and they're going to be starting later in the summer, and it's a longer duration, and so there's a lot of those changes, but I'm excited for that opportunity, and I'm ready to go and knock it out.
Nice. Always exciting to be a guinea pig, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, we'd love to have you on. There's a particular opportunity that you got at the end of last semester.
Yeah.
I'm going to dive into that. Could you explain what it is and how you got it?
Absolutely. So a little background. The event is called the National Character and Leadership Symposium. It is a flagship event that is held annually at the Air Force Academy. And so last year we sent another cadet to go to this event, and it interested me. It seemed like a really cool opportunity. She got to fly out to Colorado, get to tour the Air Force Academy, and got to listen and hear all these different speakers talk. So basically the goal of this event is to bring in different senior leaders in the military from all of the branches of military, and then they'll bring in CEOs, world-class athletes, astronauts, just a great group of speakers to basically just really nail in that character and leadership on our future leaders. So obviously they have the Air Force Academy cadets there, they have Air Force ROTC cadets there, then they have Civil Air Patrol cadets, and they had different civilians coming as well. So they are really trying to just bring in all these different ideas about character and leadership, and influence the next generation of leaders.
Sounds like a great opportunity.
Absolutely.
How did you hear about it? How'd you apply for it? And how'd you get it?
Yeah, absolutely. So last semester, I'm sure you know about our cadet opportunities chat.
Yeah.
Our cadre send out a bunch of different opportunities, and we have the opportunities to say that we are interested in those different opportunities, and we can move forward from there. So when our cadre sent out that message about NCLS, I had to jump at the opportunity to go for that event. So I said that I was interested. I sent in my application, and a couple weeks later, I got an email from the United States Air Force Academy. And at first I was like, I didn't know if it was real or not. I was like, the Air Force Academy is emailing me? So I went and talked to one of our cadre, and I was like, I got this email. Does this mean I got the event? And he was like, yep. And so that was a super exciting day, and we got to move forward from there. I had to give up all my information to the Air Force Academy and get my flights and stuff, and so yeah.
Just a couple of Social Security cards.
Yeah,
sign on some dotted lines. I'm sure it'll turn out fine.
Couple releases.
Yeah. Great. Well, what was the theme of this year's National Character and Leadership Symposium?
Yeah, so the theme for this year's NCLS was valuing human conditions, cultures, and societies. So they were really trying to emphasize the importance of really getting to know your team and the people that you're working with, getting those personal relationships, and using that to help your team succeed and work efficiently in the military or in civilian life.
Awesome. So a lot of bigwigs there, a lot of people that you can learn from.
Yeah.
Were there any of your peers that you knew were going to be there ahead of time?
Yeah, so I knew there were different cadets going from North Carolina, and from doing different events like the MDX or different FTXs, I've met those different cadets. So I knew Cadet Gould was going from UNC, and then there was a cadet from UNC Charlotte, Duke University, NC State. So we had quite a few folks going from North Carolina, and that was a really cool experience. I think we all got the same flight, so going from Raleigh to Colorado Springs, we were on the same flight at 5:45 in the morning, and that was a bonding experience.
Yep. Another one of those. Great. So it seems like they pick cadets from a bunch of different detachments, have them all come and learn, and then hopefully bring that information back to their own detachment.
Yes.
Is that kind of the purpose?
Yes. So, like I said, there were quite a few folks going from North Carolina, but there was a cadet sent from every detachment in the United States.
Whoa.
So they had someone from everywhere in the United States, and obviously they want that information to be dispersed throughout the ROTC program, throughout the academy, throughout Civil Air Patrol, and different civilian organizations.
Sweet. That's
Yes.
great. So you're excited for the academy experience.
Yeah.
Talk about that initial trip. So once you arrived on, what kind of did they do? They just send you on the way or tell you what to do? Or
Yeah.
did you get paired up with somebody?
Yeah, so I had a cadet host. He reached out to me a couple weeks before the event, and so I knew I was going to be with him. When we first got to the academy, we had like a icebreaker with the different ROTC cadets and Civil Air Patrol cadets, and so we kind of got to know each other a little bit, and then we just hung out waiting for our host because they still had classes, so they had to finish up those, and then they came and grabbed us, and my cadet host came and got me. He's a senior, so he's about to graduate this upcoming spring. Which was really nice because he had the nicest room.
Yeah.
He had the most relaxed schedule. I wasn't running around with the freshmen. But yeah, so that first day we kind of just figured out what was going on. We got settled in our rooms, got to know our host. My host took me around a little bit. It was pretty cold. Colorado in February is pretty cold. So we weren't outside a lot, but he kind of took me for a brief little tour around campus, and then we hung out in the room and got some food, and that was really cool.
How was the tour?
Yeah, so the tour was great. Their actual academic campus is pretty small. Like they have 2 dorms, so all of their 4,000 cadets stay in one of 2 dorms. They have one academic building, they have a cafeteria, they have a library, and then they have a few other different buildings for events and stuff like this. So the tour wasn't anything crazy, but the campus is beautiful. So getting to see the mountains and the different views, especially during sunset, it was awesome.
So you said it was cold up there.
Yeah.
Isn't the air pretty thin up there too?
Campus is at 7,000 feet. So that took some getting used to. Just walking around takes your breath away, like especially during the nights when it gets colder. It is difficult to breathe. But it wasn't anything crazy, and I ended up getting used to it towards the end of the event. But it definitely was. That definitely was a cool experience.
Great. Well, what was your favorite part of the tour? Favorite thing to see?
I think it's crazy going to an event where I got to hear a bunch of really important and influential people speak. I have to say my favorite part was the mountains.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a surreal experience. Being here in North Carolina, we have hills. We don't really have mountains. And so getting to see the Rockies was a great experience, and it really was surreal.
Awesome. So you get the tour, you get acquainted, you meet everybody, and then you step off. What did the event have planned for you guys?
Yeah, so we had control over our schedules for the most part. There was 2 or 3 events that were mandatory that we had to go to. But for the most part, we chose our own sessions or our own speaker sessions that we could go to. So I knew that one of the days I wanted to kind of hang out and go to classes with my host and go to the gym, and so I didn't schedule as many speaker sessions, and we got to do that. But starting on Thursday,
Unpause.
Starting on Thursday, we had the official beginning of the event, where the superintendent of the Air Force Academy spoke, and he opened up the ceremony. I went to a few speaker sessions on Thursday, one of which was called Empowerment Through Creativity, where a former cadet at the U.S. Air Force Academy. His name was DeLevel Earls. He spoke about how he really leaned into his creative aspect while in the military and after his retirement. And that was a really interesting session because a lot of times in the military we don't really think about creativity. Like a lot of the stuff that we do is cut and it's straightforward.
Yeah.
And so getting to hear how he really followed his dreams and made his career what he wanted it to be was a great speaker session to go to and great wisdom to get. I also went to a speaker session where Dr. Kimberly Dickman spoke about the loneliness epidemic. So our generation is more lonely than any of the generations before us.
Wow.
And it is causing physical effects. And so she spoke about the importance of really having personal relationships and having people around you that you know you can trust and that you can lean on. And it is imperative to your physical and mental health. I thought that was a great speaker session, especially for the military. So yeah, Thursday was a pretty good day. I went to quite a few sessions. I learned a lot, and that was the start of the event. And then we had the next day, Friday. I didn't go to as many speaker sessions. I walked around campus more. I got kind of a more in detailed tour. I went to a economics class with my host.
There we go.
That was just super fun. And then I got to work out at their gym.
No way.
And that was their gym is amazing. Like, simple as that. They have 3 floors. It's a 3-floor gym. They have like a regular equipment gym. They have a climbing gym for their climbing team. And then they have like intramural sports, so basketball courts, stuff like that. And on one of the walls of the gym, it's all glass, so you can see the mountains
While you're lifting.
While you're lifting, that
tough.
was a pretty epic lift. But yeah, so
Sweet.
yeah.
So when you're going to all these speaker events, are they just big up there with hundreds of people and you're just taking notes as much as you can? Or do you get to ask them questions or have a little bit of dialogue?
Yeah, so it kind of depended on the speaker session. All of them you were able to ask questions, but there were like the Empowerment Through Creativity session. He spoke and then we asked questions. But then there were panels where we had those different senior leaders or CEOs come and we had an open dialogue with them. And I was really impressed that there was different crowd sizes as well. So like they spaced out the sessions well to whereas not everyone was crowded with 4,000 people. I went to a speaker session where a Navy SEAL spoke and there was about 100 to 200 people. It was a smaller crowd and we were able to ask more effective questions.
Good.
So yeah, it was a very interactive event, which I believe is the best for something like that. So people can get the most out of it and take the most back home with them.
Speaking of getting things out of it and taking it back home, what was the impact that this experience had on you, your personal development, and your development in your ROTC career?
Yeah, absolutely. I think first and foremost, it was humbling. To be chosen to represent my detachment to go to this event was incredible. And then being surrounded by all these brilliant minds was really, really a humbling experience. And it gave me a bar to reach. It really drilled into my mind that I have continued growth, that I don't ever have a ceiling, that I need to keep growing and I need to reach for the stars. And being surrounded by all those brilliant people really, really nailed that in for me. But yeah, ultimately it was, I learned a lot. There was an incredible amount of wisdom that was shared with me, and it really gave me the tools I need to continue to succeed in the ROTC program and in my career after that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll talk about bringing that back. Was there any opportunity that you had to share all the knowledge that you just gained with some of the Screaming Blackbirds at Detachment 605.
Yeah, absolutely. So a few weeks after I got back, I had the opportunity to give a brief at our leadership laboratory. And so I compiled a few of my key takeaways and some of the speakers that stuck out to me. And I was able to share that information with Det 605. And then just this past week, we had a 200 takeover. So
I'm sorry, keep going.
Just this past week, we had a 200 takeover. So our FDP class got to take over the roles of the POC. And that was an even better opportunity for me to use that information that I had to really succeed in my position and help my peers succeed in their positions as the POC for the week.
Sweet,
Yeah.
Great, loving those opportunities. But in all seriousness, it's great that our detachment sends kids up for opportunities to learn, grow, and develop, and then bring it back and improve our detachment. That's kind of what we're all about, sending kids out to grow, personally develop, and then bring that information back and improving our debt.
Yeah.
So year by year, opportunity by opportunity, cadet by cadet, we get better.
Absolutely.
Sweet. Well, what was one of the biggest stories or nuggets of information that stuck out to you from any of the speakers at the trip?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was actually one of the last speaker sessions of the event. We had a panel with the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, the Chief of Space Operations, the Chief Master Sergeant of the Space Force, and the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. We got to go up and ask them questions about the society today, the environment that we are in, both military and civilian. And but one of the things that stuck out to me the most was a question that got asked to Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, Joanne Bass. She was asked by a cadet how she excelled in a male-dominated environment, the military. And I think that's a question that gets asked a lot these days. And her answer just boggled my mind. She said that she did not let her self-limiting beliefs hinder her growth. So, in essence, she said that while there might be barriers in society or there might be barriers in your career, she did everything that she could to where that there was no gaps in her performance or her career that they could come back and say, you don't belong here. You're not supposed to be here. And I think that is vital to our careers today. It's like we need to focus on the fact that we need to get done what we need to get done to succeed, and there shouldn't be any gaps to where people can say that you don't belong where you are. You need to earn your spot. Yeah.
That's great. Talking about the meritocracy of the Air Force. When you're getting the A slots, they're not checking what your race is, what your ethnicity is, what your gender is. It's strictly OM. And if you put yourself out there and you do it, there's no barriers to succeed in the ROTC program.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about you being the one chosen to represent Detachment 605. How did it feel? Was it a tremendous honor? Was it stressful, or how did you feel?
Yeah, I think it was definitely an honor, and it was humbling as well. Like I said earlier, being chosen to represent our detachment with all of our crosstowns, High Point, UNCG, I was chosen to represent that, and that was a tremendous honor to be able to go to the Air Force Academy and really have that opportunity, especially as a AS200. That was great, but it was also humbling, being surrounded by those brilliant people at the Air Force Academy and other cadets who were succeeding, where we could really come together and take that knowledge and spread it out back across the country, and that was a great opportunity.
Sweet.
Yeah.
What were some of the overarching themes or the biggest takeaways that you had from your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the first things that I heard that stuck out to me was when the superintendent spoke in his opening speech. He mentioned the fact of getting to know people on a personal level before you need something from them. I think in the military, we have a lot of transactional relationships where we are working with people purely to get something from them, get some work done or something like that. And while it's important to get your work done, and complete the mission, I think it's also so important to have those personal relationships with people. And I think ultimately that makes the process of working with those folks a lot easier, because you know them, it's easier to work with them, you can trust them, and that creates a bond that allows you to work better together.
Yeah.
And so that, I think that was a very important takeaway. Another thing that I heard throughout the whole event from all of the senior leaders, all of the athletes, all of the CEOs, something that I heard across the board was the importance of humility as leaders. And so as a leader, you're going to face a lot of different challenges, and you're going to be wrong. Like, we're humans, we're going to mess up. But the importance of having the humility to really take accountability and move on is going to grow you as a person, and it's going to really help the bond of your team grow as well, because they're going to trust you. They're going to know that whether you're right or wrong, you're going to take accountability and you're going to help them succeed. And so I think that's very important as leaders in ROTC, in the military, or as a civilian.
Yeah, the strength of the mission is the people,
Yeah.
right? And the strength of the Air Force is its airmen.
Yeah.
So it's great that the Department of the Air Force is investing in its people, the future leaders of the Air Force, and that's kind of what we do at Det 605.
Yeah.
We talk about transactional relationships versus transformational relationships and how we can get them there.
Absolutely.
Just like you said, you saw Cadet Gould on this trip, but it wasn't the first time you had met her. I know I'd met her before. We'd met her at German Armed Forces proficiency badges, mock deployment exercises, cadet exchange programs. There's dozens of opportunities that cadets in ROTC get to go out and share their experiences and learn and make some of these transformational relationships that they'll carry with them onto active duty before they need to ask a favor or need something from them or just need to get work done or things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Well, as we wrap up here, what is sort of your words of wisdom or your biggest takeaways for our audience? We've got high schoolers, parents, cadets, members of other branches of military, stuff like that. So
yeah, absolutely. I want to talk to my my fellow AS200s at Det 605, but these words can be applicable to anyone listening to, today. But just continue to pursue excellence. Obviously, we've reached this milestone of getting our EAs and going to field training this summer, but the work's not done. We have so much farther to go. So I just want to emphasize continuing to pursue excellence and reach for the stars. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that concludes episode 27 of the Screaming Blackbird podcast. As always, I'm your host, Cadet Jackson Willis. Today I was joined by Cadet Christen Johnson. We appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
And we will see ya. Is that better?
Yeah.
Signed, sealed, and delivered.